Alright, Shalom. Before I begin this video, all praise, honor, and glory goes into Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachak, Wadash. Double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone, GMS, who rule well and teach well from the elder apostle Tahar on down. Already taught us his truth, as well as a sincere salutations to the elder bishops, along with you brothers laboring all throughout the four winds of the earth. Alright, Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakak, Wadash, Barakatham. And to you brothers in this, it's going to be a short lesson before camp. Just entitled, They Already Can't Take It. And it's just the beginning. Alright, because the average Babylonian is losing it. Right? You got this shutdown. The shutdown, we're only seeing the small little ripple effects. But if it continues, it's definitely going to have major effects. So this is an article from CNN. People are really hurting. So like you're from airports to grocery stores. Shutdown leaves Americans scrambling. Scrambling for what? Okay, how am I gonna travel? How am I gonna see my Uncle Jim? How am I gonna afford that bacon and that duck and that shrimp? How am I going to be able to afford the holidays? How am I going to pay my mortgage? How am I going to pay for that car note? All right, that's what got these, Americans scrambling, right? Because they want to live a wicked life, man. They want to live a wicked life, and they want that wicked life to continue. Yet it's a strain, it's a pain for these people going through what they're going through, and it's only going to get worse. It says the impacts of the longest federal government shutdown in U.S. history are reverberating around the country, leaving millions of Americans in limbo and igniting concerns about an economic downturn, which Lord's will it stays closed. Lord's will it never opens again. Frustrated travelers were scrambling as more than 1,000 flights were canceled on Friday, and thousands more were delayed, which is just the beginning. By the time you get to, so-called Thanksgiving week, Thanksgiving weekend, whatever the case is, you're going to have all sorts of delays. It says those who count on food stamps were in limbo as President DT's administration continued fighting in federal court to resist paying full benefits for November. So they are already showing you that, they don't want to give you no stamps. They want Jake to be without, which is leading to, Jake. This is leading to Jake, walking in the stores. You see different videos of Jake walking into the store, and they got their kids with them, and their kids is stealing. Not even hiding it. They just, walk in, smash, and grab. Alright, it says, those who count on food stamps were in limbo as President DT's administration continued fighting in federal court to resist paying full benefits for November. Federal workers who haven't been paid in weeks said their bills were due and they were running out of options. Yeah. So what you gonna do? right? Because this is all based off of what? A smaller government, right? That's one of the key talking points of the Republicans, a small government. So you're seeing that before your very eyes. You're seeing, them basically shut this place down. It says, with Congress in a stalemate, majority Republicans still short. That might be a typo. With Congress in a stalemate, majority Republicans are short of 60 votes they need to pass a government funding measure in the Senate, and minority Democrats sticking to their health insurance funding demands. No end to the shutdown is in sight. So it's a stalemate. It's going to continue to be a stalemate. They're going to continue, and that's because this is orchestrated and already set up to be that way. Behind the scenes, those who are pulling the strings are already letting these different government leaders know, okay, this is what's going to happen. All right, you got to do this and this. Okay, and they're going to do that. Why? Because they're puppets of the elite. They're puppets of the international bankers. So this whole trick and pony show, smoke and mirrors, this circus act, all right, it's going to come to a close soon. What Esau Edom has set up is going to come to naught. Everything that this devil has set up and put his hands on and led and guided is going to perish. His way of living, his way of thinking, that's going to be far away from us in the kingdom of heaven, man. We're not going to have to worry about the wiles of the devil and the influence of this damn devil. It says the wheels came off in the compromise talks with Democrats. He told senators to remain in Washington and available for votes this weekend. It says that Democrats would agree to end the shutdown in exchange for one more year of enhanced Affordable Care Act subsidies. An attempt to further pressure the GOP to make a deal, which they don't want to make a deal. The goal is for everything to be, messed up, jacked up, order out of chaos. So they can say, oh, it's because of this, it's because of this, it's because of that. This is being perfectly set up and orchestrated, number one, by Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. And he's using the self-proclaimed white man, in particular the small hat. Alright, because the small hatter, okay, that's the one that's really making things move, making things shake. It says the uncertainty over when the shutdown might end has led to deepening concerns about damage it could do to the overall economy. Yeah, because, okay, let's say this continues to be shut down. You have a lot of businesses that depend on that SNAP money. Different restaurants. There's different places that take EBT. Different like fish shops. stores, different gas stations, things of that nature. All these stores have taken a major hit by these food stamp numbers going down. It says with one of Trump's top economic officials sounding the alarm on Friday. National Economic Council Director Kevin Hassett said on Fox Business that the economic impact of the shutdown is far worse than initially expected because it's gone on for so long. And this, Lord's will, is going to continue to go on. Lord's will, this government stays closed, stays shut down. If we go another month or so, then who knows how bad the economy could be this quarter. Yeah, wish good. Shit, once again, hopefully it never bounces back. It says a 4% reduction in domestic flights ordered by the FAA took effect Friday, leading to more than 1,000 canceled flights across 40 major airports, with further cuts slated for the weekend due to air traffic controller staffing issues, which I believe is a government contracted job. You have different companies that are personally owned, and then you have government agencies that run certain tasks, such as the FAA. Basically has the jurisdiction over who can go up into the air, who's going up, who's going down, how long they're going to be, where they at. So with the government shutting down, the air traffic controller situation is out of whack. Because they short staffed, because the people who are there, they working without pay. So basically their life is crumbling before their very eyes. And then the ones who manage to get away, they doing something else or whatever the case is. So now you got a big ass tower. Normally it got 100 people in it. Okay, now it got like 15. Which anywhere that's understaffed, of course there's going to be issues. And the more understaffed that establishment is, the worse it is. And the longer it's going to take to fix. Every day, with it getting worse and worse, it's ultimately bringing the value to this place down. Because people are constantly saying that okay, this place is a laughing stock. You can't even hire, people to wash the airplanes. All right, in addition to cancellations, major airports, including those in Washington, Atlanta, San Francisco, and Newark, were experiencing major delays due to short-staffed control towers. Travelers across the country told CNN they feared their plans being upended. It says Leva was set to get married. Leva was set to get married Saturday in South Florida, but with more than half of her guests attending from across the country, Leva says she saw travel plans unraveling fast. So all your plans getting pushed around. Okay, and some of these people are renting a car and driving because they got to get to where they got to get to. It says he told CNN in frustration Monday morning. Damn. So he going all the way from Newark to North Carolina. That's going to be a hell of a drive. It says people are really hurting out here, he said. Addressing federal lawmakers, he added, it's not just the traveling public, but it's affecting the whole economy, and you people are to blame. Damn, it says any delay or cancellation on her return flight could cause her to miss work the next day. Damn. So if you miss up one day, you mess up, you miss your flight. That could cost you your job. You know? And people are cutting it close. If you're supposed to report back into work on a Tuesday, and you leaving from where you at on Monday to try to travel, shit, you're not giving yourself enough time. Yet, people are squeezed because what? They got to show up to work. They got to make the money, right? So this is all jacked up. I have very limited time left with my mom and so many other decisions. This is the last thing I need, she told CNN in an email. All right, so speaking about SNAP, the evidence shows that people will go hungry, food pantries will be overburdened, and needless suffering will occur. That's what irreparable harm here means. Last weekend, SNAP benefits lapsed for the first time in our nation's history. Which, that's significant, man. SNAP ain't never been jacked up. Right? It says this is a problem that could have and should have been avoided. It says the U.S. Department of Agriculture then announced Friday it was working to fully fund food stamp benefits for November to comply with a federal court order. Damn. All right, then it got paused. See, so they playing with these people. Damn. Says he and his girlfriend are out of work and rely on food stamps in part because they can never predict whether local food banks will have food available. Shalom. I'm making a video right now if you want to get in on that. Shalom. Yeah, Bashim Hashab Barakatah. So I'm gonna just go ahead and get some precepts, but it's just a video based off of this article I was reading. It says people are really hurting. It says that the shutdown is leaving Americans scrambling and shit. So this bitch is through. You got any precepts that come to mind?
Try to think
about this place being through. I had one And this is all good, so I'm just going to start from the top. This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 51, verse 1. Thus saith the Lord, Behold, I will raise up against Babylon and against them that dwell in the midst of them that rise up against me a destroying wind, their missiles, and will send unto Babylon fanners that shall fan her and shall empty her land. Right? And you know, you're gonna have them Russians. Right, so on and so forth. Because all the nations are gonna shoot missiles here on Babylon the Great, aka America. It says, "It shall empty her land." All right, through those blasts. For in the day of trouble they shall be against her round about. So Babylon the Great, you know, being completely surrounded and then destroyed. Against him that bendeth, let the archer bend his bow. Okay, so Babylon the Great, you know, otherwise known as America, they used to doing the bending. They used to blowing, you know, shit up. Now they finna get blown up. It says, and against him that lifteth himself up in his brigandine. Okay, and you lean on them weapons, and now them same weapons that you lean on, you know, they finna get used against you. Alright, it says, and spare ye not her young men, destroy ye utterly all her host. You know, so if you in Esau's army, you basically an enemy to the Lord. Right? Because in that day you finna be fighting for what? For this place to continue. You're gonna be literally fighting against the Lord's angels. And lose terribly. You know, the Space Force is going to try to fight against the Lord and lose horribly. It says Jeremiah 51 and 4. Thus the slain shall fall in the land of the Chaldeans, and they that are thrust through in her streets. Yeah, so niggas are going to get thrust through with the sword. You're going to see people piled up, dead. All right, and then ultimately them missiles are going to clear them out. It says, for Israel hath not been forsaken, nor Judah of his power, of the Lord of hosts, though their land was filled with sin against the Holy One of Israel. All right, so the Lord is going to save his elect. Flee out of the midst of Babylon, and deliver every man his soul. Be not cut off in her iniquity. Yeah, so, you know, being here leads to sin upon sin if you're, you know, following the ways of the heathen here. That's how you can be cut off, just basically being a Babylonian. For this is the time of the Lord's vengeance. He will render unto her a recompense. Right? The word recompense going into, you know, paying back. And that her is America. So America, there's going to be a payback that goes to America, aka Babylon the Great. Verse 7, Babylon hath been a golden cup in the Lord's hand. So the Lord set up America, you know, as a giant altar, a giant shop, you know, a giant circus, like a stage. Babylon hath been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken. Yeah, so the whole world follows, you know, the vibration of America. The nations have drunken of her wine. Therefore, the nations are mad. Yeah, so they've partaken in those philosophies. So now, because you've taken on, you know, Edomite mind frame, Now you're like the Edomites. Now because once again, this place is going to be destroyed. So by you wanting to be like Esau, you're going to be destroyed. Everybody that has that heathenistic mindset is going to be taken out. Is there anything you want to add?
No.
Okay. Jeremiah 51:7, or Slakia, and 8. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. All right, so at first it was established. All right, now this bitch is about done. All right, we faithfully waiting on that. It says Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her, take balm for her pain. If so, she may be healed. Which it's not going to be healed. Okay, and the people, they're the ones who are gonna, howl for her. We're gonna be happy. All right, we would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. And they've been trying to bring back that American spark, and it just ain't possible. Forsake her and let us go, everyone into his own country. So they've made their money, okay. They want to fall back. All right, for her judgment reacheth unto heaven and is lifted up even to the skies. Yeah, so even the heathen know, all right, something going on. They trying to dip out through the back door. Jeremiah 51:10, it says, the Lord hath brought forth our righteousness through the Holy Spirit. Come and let us declare in Zion the work of the Lord our power. Make bright the arrows, gather the shields. The Lord hath raised up the spirit of the kings of the Medes. For his device is against Babylon to destroy it, because it is the vengeance of the Lord, the vengeance of his temple. So we're in agreement with that. We're in agreement with the vengeance of the Lord. Lord's will we be of the elect. We are 100% with it. We want this place to be destroyed. We are all for the Russians, and the other nations destroying this place. Because along with that happening, right after that, all right, the Lord is going to be coming and saving his elect simultaneously with, these missiles being shot off. It says, Jeremiah 51:12, set up the standard upon the walls of Babylon. Make the watch strong. Set up the watchmen. Prepare the ambushes. For the Lord hath both devised and done that which he spake against the inhabitants of Babylon. And he spoke multiple, hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of times, through the scriptures, speaking on the destruction of this place, Babylon the Great. Right? And not just the land itself, but the people in the land. Everyone outside of the elect. It says, O thou that dwellest upon many waters, abundant in treasures. Yeah, so the richest nation in the world, right? Thine end is come in the measure of thy covetousness. The Lord of hosts hath sworn by himself. So the Lord has put that on himself, saying, surely I will fill thee with men as with caterpillars, and they shall lift up a shout against thee. Yeah, warfare, troops. He hath made the earth by his power. He hath established the world by his wisdom. So it's all according to how the Lord set it up. And hath stretched out the heaven by his understanding. He's the one, okay, he knows exactly where all the Israelites are, scattered throughout the four winds of the earth. It says, when he uttereth his voice, there is a multitude of waters in the heavens. And he causeth the vapors to ascend from the ends of the earth. He maketh lightnings with rain, and bringeth forth the wind out of his treasures. And that's all part of prophecy. The Lord using, see, that's the Lord's ultimate weapon, is the missiles. Every man is brutish by his knowledge. Every founder is confounded by the graven image. For his molten image is falsehood, and there is no breath in them. They are vanity, the work of heirs. In the time of their visitation they shall perish. So when the Lord come back, all this, this idolatry, this, all these different false religions, false, I'm trying to think of the word, doctrines, all these false doctrines, okay, the Lord is going to get rid of all that. Along with these people perishing, their idols are going to perish as well. Right, all these different landmarks, these different traditions of men here in Babylon the Great, all that shit's finna be burnt up. Jeremiah 51:19, it says, the portion of Jacob is not like them, for he is the former of all things. And Israel is the rod of his inheritance. The Lord of hosts is his name. Thou art my battle axe and weapons of war. For with thee will I break in pieces the nations, and with thee will I destroy kingdoms. And with thee will I break in pieces the horse and his rider. And with thee will I break in pieces the chariot and his rider. With thee also will I break in pieces man and woman. And with thee will I break in pieces old and young. And with thee will I break in pieces the young man and the maid. I will also break in pieces with thee the shepherd and his flock. And with thee will I break in pieces the husbandman and his yoke of oxen. And with thee will I break in pieces captains and rulers. And I will render unto Babylon and to all the inhabitants of Chaldea all their evil that they have done in Zion in your sight, saith the Lord. When you read that, in your mind, through the Spirit, it'll take you to, when the elect are, looking through that sea of glass and seeing this place, Babylon the Great, be destroyed. Because the Lord is going to destroy this place, Babylon the Great, right in front of the eyes of the elect. The elect are going to be beamed up, and then they're going to see the destruction of Babylon the Great. Y'all have to hold that. The sea of glass. Jeremiah 51:25 says, behold, I am against thee, O destroying mountain, saith the Lord, which destroyest all the earth, and I will stretch out mine hand upon thee, and roll thee down from the rocks, and will make thee a burnt mountain. Yeah, so Esau Edom through. Right? And they shall not take of thee a stone for a corner, nor a stone for foundations, for thou shalt be desolate forever, saith the Lord. So after you, serve your 1,000 years of hard, slavery, you're going to be completely destroyed. That's all of them. They got to go. Even the concubines, man. Even the Edomite concubines, they got to go. Okay, yep, 1,000 years is over. Y'all ass getting burnt up. All right, and the proof for that is in the book of Obadiah. Speaking about them being rounded up and burned after that 1,000 years of slavery. I'll continue. Jeremiah 51. "27. Set ye up a standard in the land." Alright, so here in Babylon the Great, you have the men of the Lord, starting off with the elder apostles of Great Millstone on down, that have set up a standard here in Babylon the Great. It says, "Blow the trumpet among the nations, prepare the nations against her, call together against her the kingdoms of Ararat, Minai, and Ashkenaz. Appoint a captain against her, cause the horses to come up as the rough caterpillars. Prepare against her the nations with the kings of the Medes, the captains thereof, and of all the rulers thereof, and all the land of his dominion." So the Lord gonna put the spirit, on them to fight, put the spirit on the other nations to fight. "And the land shall tremble in sorrow, for every purpose of the Lord shall be performed against Babylon." So the Lord, everything that the Lord can imagine and do, which is unlimited. The Lord's thoughts are unlimited. So all the things, all the terrible things that the Lord is going to come up with in that day, he's going to do, including the missiles. It says, "And the land shall tremble in sorrow, for every purpose of the Lord shall be performed against Babylon, to make the land of Babylon a desolation without an inhabitant." So no people are going to inhabit Babylon the Great, aka America. It's going to be completely destroyed. It says, Jeremiah 51:30. "The mighty men of Babylon have forborne to fight. They have remained in their holds. Their might hath failed. They became as women." All right, because who wants to go against, the Lord's angels, man? Yet, we know that they're going to fight and lose. It says, "They have burned her dwelling places. Her bars are broken." "One post shall run to meet another, and one messenger to meet another, to show the king of Babylon that his city is taken at one end, and that the passages are stopped, and the reeds they have burned with fire, and the men of war are frightened." Yeah, so that soldier pride, that's going to go out the window. "For thus saith the Lord of hosts, the power of Israel, the daughter of Babylon is like a threshing floor." All right, so this is like a big altar, a big threshing floor, right, where the grapes get stomped out. It says, "It is time to thresh her. Yet a little while, and the time of her harvest shall come." So we in that time. The fruit is ripe. And I could continue to go down. I mean, it's pretty extensive, but that's basically the point. This place don't have long, and it's spiraling out of control. They shut down. Lord's will, it continues to stay shut down. Lord's will, the government never opens again. It just stays permanently shut. Cut the snap off, Section 8 out, whatever it takes. Get the people riled up. Okay, get the people starving. The spoiling of houses. Right, the people waxing worse and worse. That's all part of prophecy. So we know that's coming. It's only going to get worse. All right, so with that, Lord's will, you are edified. Call halal, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors once again to the elder apostles of Great Millstone, GMS, who rule well and teach well, as well as the sincere salutations to the elder bishops. All right, and enough respect to you brothers worldwide, teaching and preaching. All right, may Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash watch over you, brothers. All right, may the Lord continue to bless you, brothers. All right, and put you on the front lines through the Spirit. We're battling through the Spirit. It's the Lord's will. The Lord continues to watch over you, brothers. Lord's will, you're of the elect. Lord's will, we are of the elect. So with that, Kwam Yashala and the Baba Ball. Shalom.